What up, though, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Deuce. I'm joined by my counterpart, King. And today we have a returning guest, but still makes it a very special guest to the show. We got Pistons beat writer for Clutch Points, Mr. Eric Vincent. Eric, what is the deal, my brother?
Glad to be here, man. What up, though? What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? What's up, King?
What's good? What's good?
King, what's good, bro? What's going on with you?
Man, obviously devastated.
Yeah.
Prayers going out to, Ivy and his family, especially his parents, man. My son plays ball, so I could have just sitting there seeing something like that for your child, man. So
Right. Yeah. Me and Eric were just talking about that offline. Just as far as like, as a parent, it has to be very, very tough to watch, to see it happen to anybody, whether you're related to him or not, it has to be tough. But, it's a tough situation. We're going to get to that, man. But as always, Eric, it's always good to have you on the show, bro. I would imagine the last 24 to 48 hours for you have been nothing short of maniacal and frenetic. What's been going on your way the past 24 hours?
Yeah, man, it's been a lot going on. I mean, wish you could just be about the team winning and the growth that we've seen, but trade deadline coming up, All-Star weekend, and now obviously this unfortunate headline with Jaden's health that we're gonna get into a lot. It's definitely been a lot to tackle. We're trying to give the best updates possible. Got a little bit of good news, but yeah, we got definitely a lot to get into with this, man. Hopefully we can get it as we can.
So we want to give a shout out to everybody who is here as well. We appreciate y'all showing up and showing out as you guys always do. We want to make sure you guys always feel part of the conversation. So anything you want us to comment or hit on, just make sure you drop it in the comment section and we will do our best to get to it. Now, let's get to this first topic, man. Our guy, Jaden Ivey, injury. Terrible injury he sustained last night. So let's just get to it, man. So Jaden Ivey, who was playing, in my mind, the best basketball of his life, suffered a broken fibula in last night's win against the Orlando Magic, thanks to Cole Anthony diving into his legs unnecessarily, like he's playing football or something. But thankfully, Jaden did have successful surgery this morning. He's supposed to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. But there doesn't appear to be any ligament damage, which is a good thing. It sounds like it was a clean break, which is really good news. And I don't know about you guys. I'm not a doctor, but from what I understand, I think Aiden Hutchinson broke both his tibia and his fibula, right? And Jaden just broke his fibula. Is that right?
It was believed that he broke both, but it was just his fibula.
So. It was okay. So it was just his fibula. Okay. So I guess Jaden's in a similar situation. Yeah. So from what I understand, the fibula and the tibia are kind of connected like this. The tibia is the big bone in the front, and the fibula is the bone in the back. So Jaden broke the bone in the back, the fibula. The shin bone, the tibia is in the front. So imagine breaking that bone. Imagine how much force you need to exert just to break that bone. So, but thankfully for Jaden, it wasn't his tibia, it was his fibula. So, smaller bone, smaller recovery time, hopefully. But with that, we're hearing that he is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks, right? So even with that, we don't know what his timetable is going to be for recovery. So I just want to ask you guys, Eric, I'll start with you. What are your initial thoughts on his injury and what it might mean for the Pistons for the rest of the season?
Man, I ain't gonna lie. When I first saw it, I saw the collision. We saw Cole undercut him going for a loose ball. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. He's holding his leg for a minute. He was, definitely groveling in pain. As you kept waiting, it's like, all right, maybe he'll get up. Maybe they'll help him up. Maybe he'll take it off. And then they brought a towel boy off the bench, and they just had him holding a towel over his leg. Like, I wasn't looking super close at his leg. I just saw his body language because I didn't want to assume anything to happen. But when they were just holding that up, I'm like, okay, this is a little more serious than I thought. So this couldn't happen to as JB said during the presser in the postgame after, man, it couldn't have happened to a better person. Someone who cares as much as he does about this restoration, as much as he cares about Detroit, the Pistons, his teammates, seeing everybody crying on the bench, watching them, huddle around him and praying. And even, granted, yes, I do think Cole was pretty reckless what he did, but to see his remorse as well, and then the coach as well, like, everybody was shook up. The whole LCA was chanting his last name, giving him some support.
Yeah.
It's super unfortunate, man. And like outside of just his personal growth as well, I tweeted this earlier. This part just still makes me so upset. We still will not see a full season of Cade and Ivy together.
I was gonna, yeah.
We all talked about it before the season started. Do these two fit or not? We all didn't know. We all were hopeful. We know the answer now. They fit. The team is winning. They're both putting up career high numbers. The duo fits, and they're winning because of them right now. So it's super unfortunate. We're definitely hoping for the best case scenario, for his health and for the team's sake right now. But
Yeah.
It's super shocking, and I'm really, really upset for him, for real.
Yeah, Kane, what do you think, bro? What are your thoughts on this, man? Get in here.
Just better now as a young player to have that type of thing happen than later into your career. You don't want that to happen at all, obviously, but Ivey's young. He's extreme hard worker. I think if anybody could recover from this 100% and be just fine, it's him. He has every bit of that in him. So, yeah, it sucks not to be able to see him and Cade play a full season together because, he was definitely starting to knock down a few of the things that were said about him. Last night, like I said, he was having one of those nights shooting the ball from three. It's the best I've seen him play, and for this to happen right now while your team is trying to build up and become something and build an identity, it sucks because now you got to try to figure out where you're going to get that energy from, where you're going to get the production from. Obviously, him in the locker room, everything that he affects as a person around that team and with his teammates is now gone. It's just like I said, it's the same situation with the Detroit Lions. These guys are going to have to group together and they have to make sure that his injury is not in vain. Make that play in or make the playoffs. Right. That's how you answer something that, that devastating. It should make you play that much harder, not only for yourself, but for your teammate, man. And let them know that it's not in vain.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, bro. It's amazing to me that it only took 33 games for us to see that this backcourt works. That's it. Yeah. They played a combined 33 games over the past 2 seasons, basically. And they finally got a chance to play consistent time together without it being a break in time, without waiting for one guy to get back and waiting for another guy to get acclimated up. They both were on the same track. They both were on the same path. They both were in game shape. They both were catching a rhythm. They both were in kick. Like, they were there. And that's why it's so unfortunate, because you saw, even just off, once again, another small sample size, that it works. Jaden has quieted all the whispers about his jump shot. I mentioned it before. The quality of jump shots goes a lot into your percentage as a jump shooter. If your quality of shots are trash or terrible, and you're not getting good looks, and you're getting the ball with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and you're trying to go ISO from the top of the key, yeah, you're going to shoot 35% from 3. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting them within the flow of the offense with the weapons around you, that's going to naturally go up. So I think he really did quiet a lot of the doubters. And to your point, Eric, I think people got to see the kind of person that he is just from the response of his teammates. Mm-hmm. Right? You saw Ausar Thompson crying. You saw Stu, who's usually stone-faced. You saw the look on him. He was literally just staring at him like, wow. He was in shock. You saw Cade. He was in shock. You saw these guys huddling up. So they really, like, Stu views him as a little brother. That's Stu's little brother. You know what I'm saying? And so it's for me, it was bittersweet because you got to see how much these guys really just care about each other off the basketball court. These guys do things together. They go places together. They play games on the video game together. Call of Duty. They do all these different things together. So it's more than basketball for them. And one thing that really impressed me is that they responded after he went out. A lot of time when that happens, things can go one of 2 ways. They can go terribly bad or they can go great. And last night, they responded in kind and said, let's get this game for Jay. Shout out to the vets because they did their part in helping to get the guys together. But they responded, and they got that game. So I just wanted to shout them out for that. But to your point, I wanted to just say that because you really got to see the bond that these guys kind of have with each other already.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely saw it. Like, to me, it was most noticeable from JB Bickerstaff. Like, he came in the presser after, and even like right after it happened, he was tears in his eyes, and he had the same emotion. Like, this was supposed to be a huge game for them. I mean, they finally passed their season win total from last season. They're 15 wins in compared to the 14 from last season. And like you just said, it could have went one of 2 ways because they weren't playing great for a good stretch of that fourth quarter after he went down. Orlando went on a run. Suggs was getting hot. They were getting a lot of rebounds, getting some stops. And, the Pistons tightened up a little bit offensively. And they're noticeably a completely different team without him. And moving forward, they're going to be. I mean, Cade's talked about it too when he was out with his knee injury just recently. Like, that spark that he has, the speed and all the improvements that come with it. And you're seeing how it affects other people too. They were doing a really good job, playing in transition. I feel like maybe like 5-6 different dudes caught an alley-oop yesterday.
Yeah. And,
Jaden was one of the beneficiaries, and he set who did he set up? Tobias. Tobias was coming down. He threw a lob to him on the wing. It couldn't have happened to a better person. Again, especially at the height of how great he was playing.
Yep.
Being able, like you said, silencing all the doubters, seeing so much improvement. And again, so early as well into the season. Like, we're barely not even halfway into it at this point. And, seeing how much energy it took out of LCA and took out of the team. It was so hard to watch, man. Again, we wanted to celebrate and be happy, but just everybody just had that cloud hanging. So big prayers for him, man. It's so unfortunate.
Yeah, it was terrible to see, man, live and on the screen. Any further thoughts on what you saw, what you felt when that happened?
Man, just complete shock. I didn't even know how to react for a while.
Yeah.
Just sat there and stared at the TV screen. At that point, the game had left me.
Right.
Watching the rest of the game, it was just straight stare at the screen. Instantly, like I said, I started thinking about his family, his parents. It sucks, man. It just sucks. Two of my favorite athletes on both of my favorite teams, obviously, both break a leg.
Right.
Never would I would have thought, that would happen in the same year. It's just crazy, man. But like I said, if anybody can come back strong, it's Ivy. I expect him to do that, but the trade deadline just became a whole lot more important.
Yeah. We're going to get to that too, bro. So let's transition a little bit. So we know that in the wake of this terrible injury comes decisions that now have to be made with the rotation and the roster as a whole. Either of you, whoever wants to shoot first, what makes the most sense to you as far as how to fill now those 30-plus minutes that are now going to be available with Jaden sideline now? Either one of you want to jump in there as far as what you think?
I think they need to go, like, if I were to adjust the starting lineup at all, I would go, now obviously going to keep Cade where he is. Tim Hardaway Jr., I would slide over to the 2. I've been a little hesitant on placing this person in the starting lineup because I didn't think it was an immediate need. Now it kind of is. Ausar, I think, should be starting now.
Absolutely.
I think he's got to be their 3. He's going to carry a lot of the weight defensively. And I think you go with what the rest of the front court has been. Tobias stays at the 4, Duren stays at the 5. I don't like the idea of throwing Beasley in with the first unit right now, just because I think it's a little redundant having him and Tim Hardaway Jr. starting at the same time. You need that spark plug offensively coming off the bench, especially since they're probably not going to have that at this point. I would keep him in where he's a little more comfortable. And I don't want him becoming just like a chucker, because if he starts and plays 30 minutes, like 10 or however many shots he was taking or threes he was taking, it's going to go up even more. And I don't really want his shot diet going crazy. I think the guys that are in the starting lineup just have to step up a little bit further. Tim Hardaway Jr., he's a little streaky. That's going to have to change now. Tobias has been very up and down. That's going to have to change now. They went to him a lot yesterday, had a really good game, a lot of good production. They're going to have to lean on him heavily at this point. Jalen Duren also had a really good game, and those guys are going to have to pick up a lot of the slack. But for me right now, I would definitely put Ausar in, and I don't think it's a big deal for him to be placed as a starter at this point, because I don't think his role changes at all. I don't think he has to start taking 15 shots. He don't need to ISO and play, out of his character. He needs to stick playing the defense, make those hustle plays, be the number 1 defender, take some pressure off Cade and the other guys on defense, and just play your game. Create the offense and create the energy, with how you create energy, which is on defense. So I think that makes the most sense right now without changing too much, because I still think they can get similar production to an extent if Tim Hardaway gets a little bit more consistent with what he's doing. But, yeah, for me, I would go Cade, THJR, Ausar, Tobias, and then Duren round out the 5.
Gotcha. King, weigh in.
I totally agree. That's the lineup that makes sense right now. Unless you're talking about possibly moving THJ to a 3 spot and bringing somebody like Ron Holland up to start at shooting guard, for at least for right now. Like I said, offensively, he's not going to give you the production that you need, but obviously he's a defender. We've seen plenty of starting lineups with defenders out there at that 2 guard spot, so it could work in situations. Obviously, they're going to be doing some things trying to figure out who is going to be the guy to fill in, but for me, it's just a trade deadline. I just feel like you need to go and get something to try to replace that. If you're serious about making a play-in or a playoff this season, I think you go and get something.
So we're going to come back to that because I want to get you guys' thoughts on that too, as far as what the Pistons' agenda should be at this point. So I'm glad you mentioned that, King. I'm kind of in the same boat with you guys. I personally would move Tim to the 2. I think he is. I mean, I won't say if he's better suited to play the 2, but I think size-wise, he's better suited to play the 2 just because he's a small 3. And I think he gives you more defense, team defense, than Bees does. Bees is not a great defender. He's a better shooter than Tim, more consistent. But defensively, I think that would really be affected if he were to start right now. And I think since Beasley has shown that whether he's starting or whether he's off the bench, he can be effective, it doesn't matter for him. So I think for a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., let him play the 2. That's where I think he would be best. Cade wanted him obviously this offseason to play with him, so they're going to get an opportunity now. And then, I think you put Ausar to 3, allow him to be a secondary ball handler, and allow him. And the reason I say Ausar too is because the Pistons, when they started the season, they've gotten better, but they got off to so many slow starts. They were calling timeouts 2 minutes into the game, and they were trying to recover late into the game. And I think having tone setters like Ausar to start the game defensively, to set the tone defensively, to get easy buckets defensively, to get the crowd into the game defensively, or take the crowd out of the game if you're in the road defensively. That kind of stuff is important as far as getting off to good starts. And I think you just have to have him, even though he's not a good shooter. We saw last night they were kind of packing the paint because he's not a good shooter. And that was something that really stood out. But even with that, because of what he gives you defensively and just creating easy buckets, you have to live with that, in my opinion. So I'm with you. I think that definitely needs to be the move. But I honestly think that for those who may have wanted to trade Jaden or whatever, they're going to see how important he was to this team now that he's not here. It always seems to work that way, right? It always works that way when you don't appreciate it until it's gone. And now we're going to see the impact, the two-way impact that he had, because people say he's not a good defender. A lot of time he'd be guarding the best backcourt player, and he'd be doing it well. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Donovan Mitchell, whether it's Jaylen Brown, who actually Jaylen Brown struggles with, if you pay attention. Guys like that, Russell Westbrook, he held him to 8 points. So guys like that, athletic guards who are strong, is who Jaden Ivey is built to defend. And not having him there, whether you want to put, a Sasser there, or with, like you said, King, even around Holland, you're losing something defensively or offensively. With Sasser, you're losing size, defense. With Holland, you're losing offense. So it's like, his presence is going to be missed greatly on both ends of the court. And unfortunately for a lot of fans, they're not going to see it until he's not here. So, but I definitely agree with both of you guys. I think that's the best lineup. Go ahead, Eric. You want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm just glad you said that. I don't really understand why it took this long for people to kind of understand that. I felt like, again, he's been playing the best basketball of his career. And again, the Pistons were the beneficiaries of all of it. They were winning. He's the perfect complement to Cade. Even when he was leading the second unit in staggered lineups, he was giving them everything they needed. He was getting to the free throw line. And I don't care about, people still try to knock him on defense. He don't have to be, Bruce Bowen to prove that he's a good defender. He was doing a fair enough job with his role. He don't have to be a lockdown dude. He was playing well enough, again, creating transition opportunities like the guys you just named. Even Trae Young, I remember when, Cade had the game-winning block against Atlanta. Trae Young had the ball first, and Ivy was matched up against him. Normally, for those guards, for whoever the worst defender is, they're not guarding the primary ball handler of the team. They stick him in the corner and say, hey, just don't screw it up. Right. Follow the shooter or do whatever you need to do. But no, he was matched up on a lot of the better players in the team. I think he was guarding Suggs a good point of the game yesterday. So, nah, man, it don't make no sense to how slept on Ivy has been within this own fan base. He's been fantastic this year. Again, he does have some room to grow, but that's not the point of contention that we should be talking about. He was playing fantastic this year. Again, we're seeing the perfect compliment to Cade Cunningham, and we were seeing JB Bickerstaff being the perfect compliment to both of them. Granted, I don't want to throw his name in there, but could anybody else see Monty Williams reacting the way?
We're gonna talk about Monty. We gonna get there. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Like it just. I don't know, man. It sucks it had to get to this point, but those who watch ball and know the game know how much value that this dude was bringing to this team.
Absolutely, bro. I couldn't have said that better. And go ahead, King. Go ahead. You want to jump in?
No, I'm just looking at the comments and I see a lot about Sasser. Listen, here's the thing about Sasser. Sasser is a guy who can put the ball in the basket. A lot of the times for me, it's just mentally for Sasser. Is he's a guy that's just going to come in and just fire? You know what I'm saying? And that's been my argument with him this entire time.
It has.
Come in the game and be aggressive. You know, I see a lot of overthinking when he's out there on the court. He's trying to prove that he can be a point guard. I don't like that. I wish the Pistons would stop trying to make him do that. But yeah, if Sasser was a guy that could come in and just be explosive as a scorer, that gets him on the court. But since he's not at that stage right now, I don't think that happens.
Okay. I think that's a good point, bro. I think just to kind of reinforce what you're saying, I think he's going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this, because think about it, all season long, hasn't had consistent time. When you don't have consistent time, you tend to think a little bit more about how you can stay on the court, right? You don't want to make mistakes, taking bad shots. He knows now he's going to have a more consistent role. So I think now he can just kind of settle in a little bit, at least I'm hoping for, and just play his game. To your point, King, because there have been times when it's just like, bro, shoot the ball. That's you're a bucket. Go get a bucket. You know what I mean? I think this situation, knowing he's not going to get pulled, you guys have hope. There's been times for me when I made a mistake, I'm looking to the sideline. I'm trying to see if I'm getting subbed in or subbed out, right? You know, so as a player who doesn't have consistent minutes, that can be in the back of your mind. And so him not having to worry about that, at least not for the time being, I think it's going to help him, knowing he can make mistakes and still continue to play his game and get into the flow of the offense and to a rhythm. I think that's going to help him. So, but it's going to be needed, because we're going to need him to provide that for us, because he's not a liability defensively. He's actually a pit bull. He's just undersized, right? You can't teach size. So I think if he's going to be in the court, he's going to have to make sure that he's aggressive, King, to offset whatever deficiencies may be there defensively. That's going to be what I think is going to be beneficial for him to stay on the court, for sure.
All the opportunity in the world for Sasser right now.
Yeah,
I hope it clicks on, man, because he's a dog.
He is.
Dog, bro. Take the opportunity right now and attack.
Right.
Attack. Shoot that ball, man. That's what you're great at doing. Shoot that ball. We don't need you to be Chauncey Billups.
Right. Be Vinnie Johnson. Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah. So I want to get to this next. I think one of you guys mentioned it already, but we have coming up now the trade deadline in about a month and a couple days. February 6th at 3 p.m. is the cutoff point for the actual trade deadline. So, guys, I'll start with you, King, this time. The Pistons are 15-18. They actually have some favorable matchups coming up in the next few games. They got a shot to get to 500. So with that, we know the Pistons haven't been in the playoffs in, 6 years now? And I know for a fact they haven't won a playoff series or game in 17 years, believe it or not. And all we keep hearing, right now are the annual whispers of all the usual suspects: Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, etc. So if you're Trajan Langdon, is there anyone that you would look to trade for to try to make that playoff push? Does this alter your plan at all? Or do you think that they should just stand pat, focus on the growth, and give some of these younger guys, a la Sasser, Ron Holland, an opportunity? What do you think?
I think either way you look at it, they're going to focus on the growth. You might have an opportunity. I think if Trajan has an opportunity, he's going to take it to get somebody in here that's, that he would see going forward with the team, whether Ivy broke his leg or not. I think he's going to be still sound with that decision and bring the right guy here. I think they're trying to find guys that fit the identity of the basketball team, but also contribute to what they have already.
Right.
So I think that's the guy that we're going to look for if it's in the trade market. Whether it's a big name or not, we don't know that, obviously. But, whoever you bring to this team, just make sure that it's a player that's going to contribute to what we have already and help these guys get better and grow.
Okay, I'm with that. Eric, what are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I think Trajan has spoke a lot about not wanting to skip steps, not wanting to rush, not, be too premature with things. So while we all kind of agree a change or some kind of, improvement is going to have to be made, I kind of agree with what King was saying. I think he's not going to rush into an immediate move. I don't think this is like, okay, so now we're out. Okay, we have to go get Zach. No, you don't. You're going to take your time and see what you have with these young guys because they're kind of in a middling part where you still want to win, but you also now get a bigger exposure for the younger guys to see how they can fit in on a bigger stage right now with this team. So, yeah, like Ron Holland, like this is a huge moment for you too. We were just talking about what it means for Sasser. This means a lot for him. This means a lot for Ausar. I mean, even for guys like Fontecchio, like a lot of guys got to step up and, fill in what Ivy brought for this team, even like for their own roles. They don't have to play like Ivy, but they just need to do more to kind of pick up that slack. So it's not a whole lot of names I'm in love with. Like I saw a lot of people on Twitter float around Lonzo Ball. I think that's a terrible idea. Like I don't have nothing against Lonzo, but you're not gonna make a move for an injury-prone dude, hoping that he's gonna fill in for somebody who just got injured. I just don't see the value in that right now. So I feel like right now it makes the most sense to just kind of ride out with what you have. And if obviously Ron's not playing well enough or Asar's still taking his time, then maybe you go fishing around to see what you can do. But I feel like Trajan's gonna take his time. And, kind of keep with the process right now because, the teams ahead of them right now, the East is not that strong outside of Cleveland and Boston. Everybody else, I feel like, can be passed up. So I don't think it's an immediate need to rush, and I think they see that right now.
So shout out to you, Doug. Yeah, man, I am not in any rush to make any moves right now. The Pistons window hasn't even opened yet. The timetable hasn't even started yet as far as contending. Mm-hmm. We're not even there. If we were, 44 and 38 team or, 48 and 34 team, something like that, where we're trying to get to that next level, kind of like how Cleveland was last year, and this happens, then maybe you look at something like that. But we have a ton of guys on this team where I'm saying to myself, if he had more minutes, there's so many guys on this roster I'm thinking about like that. Ron Holland is one of them that comes to mind. If Ron Holland has more minutes, what does that look like? So before we go and bring somebody else in, giving up assets in the process who may not be reliable, why don't we find out what we have first? In the full. We just talked about Cade and Jaden and how we need to see what we have with them. Why are we not doing that with the rest of the roster? Why is everybody in such a rush to get to the playoffs and lose in the first round potentially? Like, we're trying to win championships. It takes time to build that. And the Pistons don't even fully know what they have yet. They got rookies who are trying to get more playing time. We're going to talk about more about Bobi Klintman. That's another guy. Like, we're getting guys who are still coming back that we have not seen play basketball for the Pistons at all. At all. So you're going to bring in somebody else before you even know what you have? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I honestly am in no rush. I don't want Brandon Ingram. I like his game, but to me it overlaps with Cade too much, and he's always hurt. And he's not a defensive dog in my opinion. I'm looking for tone setters. He's not a tone setter to me. So I'm not in the business right now making any moves unless it's going to give us a ton of assets, and it's not going to sacrifice any potential playing time for any of these young guys. That's where I'm at with it right now.
The only name that I've been pushing for, and I still kind of think it will make sense, but I don't really think it's probably going to happen. The only name that I've really been pushing for that I think would be a great fit for this team is Cam Johnson. I don't think they probably have the assets to go get him. Like, I could probably see him going to a contender more than anybody else. But I feel like even in this position, even if Ivy were healthy or not, they're not in a position like we're talking about Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine, like star level players. I don't think they're in a position where they need to go fish for that, even with Ivey being hurt. If you can get another 3-and-D shooter, or if you get somebody on even a level like a Malik Beasley, you got him on a 1-year, veteran deal. So if you can still maybe, fish and find one more person that fits that kind of mold, I think that's sufficient enough for who Cade Cunningham has been this season.
Yeah.
And, for the spacing and the help that this offense would need. Again, we're seeing a bit of the growth. Again, a lot of these guys are kind of streaky, and that may continue over, these next, several weeks or however long it's going to be. But I don't feel like you said, it doesn't need to be, a major name to kind of fill that need. If you can find somebody that just kind of fills in, the specific roles that you need, I think you're going to be just fine with that. You're not going to find somebody else with Ivey's world-class speed. You're not going to find another mega athlete like him. It's just not going to happen. But if you can find somebody that to just play some good defense and can give you a solid 20, 25 minutes, that's all you really need right now. And then you can see where things shake out in this weak Eastern Conference. Agreed.
King, weigh in, bro. I hear you. I see you over there.
Man, Eric, man, you struck a nerve with this fan base.
Oh, shoot.
What I do?
Let's get to it.
It's not your fault. You made a great point. But it struck a nerve for me with this fan base. It's like,
talk about it.
For the life of me, I don't understand why we love bringing names and guys in here that's injury prone. It's not going to get better when they come to Detroit. It never has. No. It never will. I don't understand it, bro. Like, they just be wanting to it's like they just like to hear it themselves say it. Like, we got Brandon Ingram. Bro, no.
How many times have we done that in the last 20 years?
Oh, my God.
How many times have we done that? Off the top, Chris Webber, T-Mac, Iverson, Blake Griffin, like you said, King, it doesn't get better just because they're here. I think that's just blind optimism. But go ahead. I'm sorry. You struck a nerve with me. Go on there.
No, it's just what it is, man. And, like I said, we're not going to push the fast forward button. Actually, the game plan is still the same as it was when Troy Weaver was here.
Yep.
We're actually doing now what he said he wanted to do.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? But the difference is now we have a head coach. You see, that changes everything. Have a coach in JB Bickerstaff who actually gives a damn, that actually coaches these guys and develops these guys. That's what you're looking for. Development. The only way that you're going to develop these players is if they're on the basketball court. You don't develop players in practice. They have to play. So go and get me a Piston. How about that?
Right. You know
what I'm saying? Go and get me a Piston. Someone who's going to come in here, obviously contribute to the team, play some defense, good for the locker room. Go and give me a Piston for right now to give us the push that we need, like I said, to be one of those bottom to lower seed teams right now. That's what we're pushing for right now. We're not at the stage where we go and get the big name and try to win a championship. You can't skip steps.
Right.
You cannot skip steps. So we got to stop with the crazy names and sell everything to go and get this guy. And let's trust the process. You know what I'm saying? Trust the process.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let's move on. Let's pivot a little bit to a guy we were already talking about a little bit, but I have no problem talking more about this cat. Bobi Klintman. Bobi Klintman, man. So I think all three of us pretty much were in unison and were in alignment after Summer League that this dude may be a diamond in the rough. That was kind of my thought process after the first few games. And to put it in perspective, I understand it's Summer League. You're right. How many Summer League stars turn into NBA stars? Like, I get it. But, like, over the years, I've kind of personally just trained my eye to look at not who he's playing against, who a guy's playing against, but looking at what that guy particularly has to offer. The individual player has to offer. It's a difference. Eric, you know what I'm talking about, and King, you do too. Over time, you develop, you can see, okay, he scored 30 because he's playing against a defender that shouldn't even be on the court with him. Versus, he's doing these intangible things in the court that nobody's paying attention to. You know what I mean? So I think Bobi fits the latter. He did so many things in Summer League and in these few games with the Motor City Cruise, who Eric also covers, that just jump off the screen to me. And so I cannot wait to see what he brings to this. He's part of the reason why I don't want to go make a trade is because I don't want anybody who's going to get in the way of what he may be able to bring. I think he's a stretch for the future. at the 4 position. And I think this is going to be the first time we really get to see him show who he really is as a player. I want to get you guys' thoughts. Eric, I'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on Bobi Klintman? First of all, have you heard anything about potential timetables for him? Because we know that contusion was contusing for like 2 months. So now that that's, kind of behind him, we've seen him get a little bit his feet wet with the Motor City Cruise. Have you heard anything about his timetable? And then what are you looking forward to seeing from him this season, if anything at all?
JB hasn't spoke too much about him. He's definitely well tapped in with what the Cruise is doing, though. I know some of the players were actually at, I think, the last game that they had that was at Wayne State. Mm-hmm. So, they're definitely locked in and paying attention to him. And as everybody should be, because he been hooping. I'm so impressed with this dude, man. A lot of the things that you see from guys like, not necessarily the guys like him, but the plays that he makes, you kind of see from veterans, like the ability to kind of read an extra pass, how to rotate defensively, how to not force a shot. Like a lot of young guys, like we kind of see from Ron sometimes where JB will have to yank him. Hey, that's not the shot we need. Come sit down. Let me talk to you about it. Ausar kind of does the same thing sometimes. He had a terrible skip pass, in the first half of the game against the Magic. He got yanked after that. Bobi is doing a lot of great things that you kind of got to take time to teach for him. So to me, I'm 100% with you. I don't think he's definitely a reason that they shouldn't have to go fishing right away, because I think they want to get him on the court. Okay. Tobias, again, he's the vet. He's, been a little spotty, and they're going to need some help in the front court because they don't have a lot of consistent production. Fontecchio's been up and down, and I'll even own that because I know I was really high on him before the season started.
I was too.
He hasn't been, as advertised as what we saw last season. And again, just a lot of the front court guys are still trying to figure it out. So there's minutes and opportunities to be had for him. And even with missing and not having Ivy in the backcourt, he's somebody that can make a difference even if he's playing in the front court, because he gives you defensive versatility. He can guard 1 through 4, even 5, because his arms are so long. He's really good at ball handling. He's really good at, making passes and playmaking for others. He offers a lot for this team that I think fills in a lot of the production that they were even lacking when Ivy was on the court. And considering the fact that, like you said, dealing with that injury, we didn't really get to see much of it. But they also have talked a lot about not rushing, again, whether it's development of with the team and the roster. He's a part of that too. They're not going to rush him right away, but I definitely can see him getting some quality minutes probably before the All-Star break. It wouldn't shock me at all, to be honest with you.
That's what I said that like months ago. It's funny you said that, bro. King, I think you said the same thing, but go ahead, bro. Weigh in.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where I expected to be. Right before the All-Star break, we see him get this opportunity. There's certain players when you watch them, us being obviously different, we analyze these players a little bit different from a casual fan would. You can see certain things, what I'm saying, that somebody else might not be able to see. When I watch him, I see a lot of things, what I'm saying? And wherever he's from may play a part in some people's mind, or where you got to be cautious or whatever, but he played with grown men over there. And right away in Summer League, I noticed a little bit of a sense of maturity with him in his game. And certain, like Eric said, certain things that you would have to teach a young player, you don't have to teach him that. It's just natural for him right now. So this is a perfect time while you're in the building season to get him out there on the court. Obviously expedited now because of the situation we're facing now. So you want to see him on the court. You want to see what you really have. I think he's a diamond in the rough. I think he is one of our forwards for the future. And man, get him out there. Get him out there, Pistons.
Yeah, get him out there for sure, bro. I think the thing that jumps off the screen for me the most is just his processing speed, and that goes to his IQ. Like you said, King, he's been playing against grown men for a while now. He's a very polished player already. And one thing that I noticed, I've seen it a couple of times now, is even when he's not suited up, right? When he was still dealing with the calf contusion, the interaction with him and Cade, I've seen Cade kind of go to him, and Bobi says something to him, and Cade's like, okay. He already has the respect of Cade already up here. Those little interactions can tell you a lot. A lot of times when guys are not even in uniform, they won't even they'll sit with the team, but they won't be engaged with the team like the rest of the guys who are in warm-ups. And they'll just kind of be like, they'll put their arm out, and sometimes their arm will get, and they got to do one of these because it's like they're not fully connected with the other guys on the same level. But when you see that happening with the guy who's in street clothes, and you're seeing your star player and going and conversing with him and kind of getting reassurance on what they're seeing together, that told me a lot. Just that interaction right there told me a lot about the IQ and the respect that Cade has for a guy who hasn't even set foot in the NBA yet.
Players know. Players
exactly.
know. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we've seen an example of it with Cade, where the reaction from the players around the league after games in this young rookie season, the respect that they were giving him already.
Right.
As players. Players know. They just know differently. Obviously, we see it different as fans. They know. You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, Bobi is – I can't wait to see him get on the court.
Yeah.
Another benefit of this is too, because granted, he won't be the only, G League guy that's been getting calls up for the past few seasons. When they had Jared Rhoden or Stanley Amude, they weren't really learning from other veterans. Like,
right.
What is Bojan Bogdanovic going to teach?
That's true.
Jared Rhoden? Like, not
That's
much.
True.
So if Bobby's making a play and he's getting Tobias in his ear, that's a beneficial guy to learn from. Malik Beasley, who's playing some of the best ball of his career, that's a beneficial guy to learn from. And again, obviously, JB being, the X factor to all this, he'll give him the right tools, to be put in a position to learn. So granted, they're now in a position where, while they may have some expedited, expectations, they're still young and they're still not in a position where they have to be perfect right away right now. You're seeing Cade play at an all-star level. You're seeing the veterans help out. JD is still coming along in some spots. He's getting a lot better actually defensively. And I think, if you have somebody like Bobi next to them, I think it's going to make life easier for all of them, considering the help and the resources that are around them.
Great point. Go ahead, King.
Just going from obviously something that we're talking about, right? Just going from a dead body on the sideline to somebody like JB Bickerstaff. Like I said, just he knows what chords to pull with these guys. Obviously, we're still watching his product over there in Cleveland. That's his product. He built that product over there.
Yeah,
and that mentality, and he developed those bigs over there and those young guys over there. Yeah, he's bringing all of that here to this team. You know what I'm saying? And it's important right now to have that type of coach that's a developer at this stage, especially with the youth that we got on the squad. So, like I said, we just we got to get these guys out here on the court together and play as much as they can, man. That's the ultimate answer right now is get them out there and let them play together and develop and grow together. All the respect and everything and the glue and all of that, it'll fall in line because we actually have a identity that we're building now instead of just being some random team that we don't know what we're doing, playing 27 different lineups.
Man, so we're going King, because you kind of led us into one of the topics I wanted to get to. I was going to say this one for last, so we're going to skip to this one just because you led into it perfectly. Coach Bickerstaff's impact, man. JB Bickerstaff's impact. If there were a season over season to look at an example and say, yes, coaching is impactful, it would be the Pistons from last year and this year, right? Just the impact that, like King has mentioned, that he has had on this team so quickly already, the confidence that he has in them and that they now have in him. And I want to give a shout out to something that Isaiah Stewart said with regard to him. I think Detroit Kool-Aid actually interviewed him and asked him this question. So shout out to him. But he just asked him about the growth of the team and just having JB Bickerstaff as the coach and how that has really been impactful for this young team. And one thing that's still kind of cited was the fact that just having a coach on the sideline who's going to bat for you. Having a coach on the sideline who's going to get upset when you get upset. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be frustrating when you're somebody like Cade, especially last year, who is getting smacked, and you can hear it from the Raptors if you're at LCA, and they're not calling it, and you're asking the ref what happened, and the ref isn't giving you any time of day, and then you look to your coach, and your coach isn't giving you any time of day. We all saw that play last year when Cade got fouled. He barked at the ref, got nothing, looked at his coach, and Monty's looking at him like this.
The Knicks game.
And Cade is just looking. Kay was looking at, I'm not going to speak for him, but Kay was looking at him almost as if to say, wow, he don't care. It was really sad to see. And so I think having a complete opposite of that now, when you get fouled or hacked and you don't get a call and your coach gets a tech for you, it makes you feel just a little bit better. It doesn't help you per se as far as scoreboard, but just knowing, okay, I'm not crazy. That was a foul. Okay, I'm not crazy. My coach sees it. He's going to bat for me. He's not letting me do this alone. That's what Stu was saying. And that alone just goes to the character from a coaching standpoint that JB Bickerstaff brings to the table. And that goes a long way as to why these guys play so hard for him, in my opinion. What do you guys' thoughts on that?
Man, listen, just to have a coach that, goes to war for his team the entire game.
Yep.
He's on that sideline going to war with those refs for his team, bro. You know what I'm saying? As a player, you respect that more than anything in the world. Obviously, we've seen this reaction to what happened with Ivy last night. Monty Williams in that situation. Just imagine, you know what I'm saying? Well, these things happen in the league. It's just total difference. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, you see his personality and it's being pushed through these players. He demands respect. You know what I'm saying? He demands respect, but at the same time, he knows where to keep it to where these players respond to what he's putting out there. So, like I said, finding the right coach at the right time is the most important thing that you can do. So, got to give credit.
King, with that, real quick, is Monty to JB basic? I know it's not the same, but is it kind of like going from a Jim Caldwell to a Dan Campbell or a Matt Patricia?
To Dan Campbell.
Okay, because I remember Jim Caldwell. He used to always say that what you just said. Well, those are the rules. That's what they called. He was just always politically correct.
Caldwell was actually a good coach. He was a good coach. Those players didn't react like they did when he got let go for a reason. He was actually a good coach.
Gotcha.
They were just unfortunate that we had a GM at the time that didn't want to improve the roster and get guys and add some depth to the roster. I still hold everybody to this test this day. Name me one bench player that Lions team had when Caldwell was around.
Good point.
Give me one name. You don't know anyone.
I don't know any.
You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it today, obviously, total different thing. Dan Campbell commands the team. He goes to bat for his team.
Yep.
He's developing the young guys. Even when guys make mistakes, he stands behind them. Jamison Williams, for obviously, example. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of things that you want from your coach. That's what makes you respect your coach. And like I said, with Bickerstaff, man, when they make mistakes on the court, he's not taking you out the game. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
He's not running and, give me such and such off the bench. Hey, listen, this is what you did wrong. When it comes to the sideline, you see him coaching them. He's a coach.
He's a coach.
He's a coach.
Yep.
Monty Williams was a body. He was a body. He was a bag of money just sitting on the sidelines. And that's just what he was. So it's totally different, man.
Man. Well said, bro. Eric, get in there, bro. What you think?
Yeah, before the game yesterday, they do the pressers with the coaches beforehand. And I actually went in Orlando's press area, and Jamal Mosley came out, and shout out Cody Davis. He asked him about his relationship and the impact that JB has brought to this team, and care was the first thing he talked about, and nobody will ever have to question that ever. Even when they're losing, even when things aren't going right, when they got smacked by the Knicks early in the season, he was still making rotation movements, and he was still on the sideline coaching his behind off. Instead of just, sitting on the side, watching the clock go, he was trying to make changes and at the very least, prioritize the development of his guys. So nobody's ever going to have to question that with JB Bickerstaff. And that's number one that we see. I mean, his ability to challenge, plays that the refs get wrong, take timeouts and go school them and talk to them like, hey, what did you see here? Because I don't see what's going on. His fire and his passion has translated through this team, and you're seeing it consistently. One of my favorite quotes that I've seen from JB, I think it was, what was the game? I forgot what game it was, but it was It was the Utah game. Utah,
Okay.
where Ron Holland got teched up with Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Paul, Paul, like bumped into him and they got his stuff or whatnot. And after the game, JB was fired up because shout out Amari Sankofa. He asked him about that. He said, "Yo, double technical fouls are a bailout. You can't be calling a technical foul on the person who's the recipient of getting hit, and then they just retaliate and defend themselves. That's the care of a coach. And if I'm a player and I'm hearing that, man, I'm going hard next game. I'm going crazy in practice because I know my coach got my back. I never have to worry about that. That goes such a far way, man. It really does. Like, JB is never a coach speak kind of person. He'll give you the impression and the notoriety that he really does care and that he's putting the development and the growth of his players first over anything else. He even talked about it too. Amari asked him as well about like what do you think has gotten you to this point of getting them to this 14th win, and you've seen this kind of development. He's like, yo, I try to gain their respect, try to understand them as people, trying to develop these personal relationships. I didn't hear Monty talk anything about personal relationships last season.
Yeah,
Jay has gone above and beyond to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Everybody gets the same attention to detail. It's not like he's just caring about Cade or the star focal point players. He gives the same care and attention to everybody that's on that roster, and you see it night in and night out. I honestly can't even believe that Cleveland still got rid of this guy. I don't know what they were thinking, but thank you,
bro.
We'll take it.
If I would have came in halfway through your answer, I would think you were talking about Dan Campbell.
That's how they treat him, bro.
Like,
That's exactly how they see him. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as caring about the person and not just the player, like everything you were, I literally had to reset my brain and just say, okay, let me just listen as if I don't know what this is talking about JB. And it sounded like Dan Campbell.
Right.
So it's just like, just based off what because you've been in those rooms, right? You've seen them, those interactions and those conversations. So to hear that is super duper encouraging because for the most part that guys are going to be incentivized to play hard for their coach because they know that he's going hard for them. That alone goes, like you said, it goes a long way. So that makes me very, very happy to hear for sure. And we've seen it. We've seen it all season, but to hear it and that to know what's happening behind closed doors, that goes a long way for the growth of this team. Get in there, King.
It also gives you an opportunity to go out there and play free. So
right.
Like I said, I was giving an example. These guys don't got to worry about being snatched out of the game. We watched what happened to Ivy before, with last regime. Let's just say last regime. And you're phantomly getting dogged by your coach. You know what I'm saying? Think about what that's doing to you mentally as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have no room for growth whatsoever. He is literally holding everybody back on this team right now. But now I have a coach that lets me play free, that lets me be who I am, that respects me as a person and as a player. I can go out here and play free now. You know what I'm saying? I can go out here and actually learn. I'm going to take in what he's given because what we just experienced before he got here, I don't want to experience that again. So I'm going to take heed to these words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give him the respect that he demands. And that's what you see from these young guys, not even just the young guys, but the veterans too.
Right.
He has that respect. And again, Cleveland, what the hell was y'all thinking?
I mean, is he the Mark Jackson for Golden State? Like, I keep seeing in the comments, setting foundation. Yeah, that's what he did. So I know Cleveland's playing well now, but Golden State also played well for Steve Kerr when they had the foundation built. So not to throw shade at the coaches who are there now, but you can't just shade the coaches who helped build that thing from the ground up. And that's what that's what JB did over there. And I think we have more confidence to know he did it over there by looking at what he's doing now. It's the same exact thing. Go ahead, Eric.
I got to give him some props too. Not even just the players. I watch his interaction with Jarrett Jack, Luke Walton, Sidney Lowe, and he pays a lot of attention to how he can help those guys as well. Mm-hmm. His hands-on ability with everybody, he's a really good relationship with Trajan Langdon as well. He said before the season, he said, I was cool with, taking the season off, chill with my family and, just, kick my feet up. But he said him and Trajan had a great conversation. They shared the same vision, and the brain power that they're both putting together for this franchise has been unbelievable. And it's coming a lot quicker than we thought because be clear, It's one thing to just be competitive. We've seen JB and this team, even going back to last season, there were some games that the Pistons were competitive and they would just tail off in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. How did this season start? The exact same way. Competitive, fourth quarter lapses, but now at this point, they're beating the Suns playoff team. They're beating the Lakers playoff team. They're fighting back from 20 down on the road against Sacramento playoff team. Even when they got dusted by, Denver in that third quarter, they were competitive the whole first half. They were leading proportions of it too. So he said he wanted to help establish an identity, and I think they've checked that off. A lot of questions that we had early in the season of like, will the backcourt work? Is JB really the right guy? A lot of these questions are getting answered quickly, and I think that can't be undersold with his impact so far.
Bro, that is a great point because, so real quick, I just wanted to piggyback off of that, bro, because you're right. As far as the identity, he's talked about this team getting better incrementally, weeks over weeks, week over week, month over month, and just building that growth, just having that incremental growth. Right? And it seems like whenever he has an extra day off to teach, the Pistons come back and look a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper, a little bit better, a little bit more prepared, a little bit more understanding what they're supposed to be doing on the basketball court, right? And it's getting to a point now where when you watch them play every game, win or lose, you're seeing a lot of the same things from them. They're rotating better. They're communicating better. They're playing more fit. Like, you're seeing the same things repeat themselves game over game, and that goes to the identity piece. Go ahead.
Just one thing with what you're just saying right now. I totally agree with that because they're learning these teams too.
Right.
Let's say, remember when we first played the Knicks kicked our ass, and then we turn around and we kicked the Knicks' ass.
Right. Good point.
So they're learning their opponents. You know what I'm saying? And that lets you know that they're in the film room. They're actually listening to the coach. They're learning from their mistakes. So that is the developmental process right there. You start to become that team who understands their opponent, and that helps you win a lot of games before you even play them.
Good point. Great point. Go ahead, Eric.
It's not just, coach speak as well. He's putting actual action to go with it. Something that he talked about before the game yesterday, because, again, shout out Amari Sankofa. He asked him about the difference between the team playing on the road and at home, because for some reason they played really good on the road and they struggled here and there at home. He said, we gotta start faster. We got to be more disciplined on defense. We got to take care of the ball, get quality shots, play fast. That's exactly how they won the game yesterday. It all tailed off after Ivey got hurt. But if he stays on the floor, Ivey led them in scoring the whole game. 22 points. I think he shot 5 or 6 from 3. He was fantastic yesterday. And they spoke and did exactly what he talked about. It's so refreshing to not just hear what a coach has to say, not just hear a plan, but actually see it come as fast and as quick as he talked about it.
That's a good point too, bro. I think JB understands what made Detroit basketball successful. Because all the things you just mentioned, tough physical defense, getting out in transition, moving the basketball, those are all the things that the Pistons have done when they won championships.
Yep.
Those are all the same things they used to do. Play hard defensively, get out in transition, and move the ball. Yesterday, no Pistons scored more than 22 points, but every starter scored more than 22 points, but they all scored in double figures.
Yep.
All 5 of them. That's the unpredictability is how the Pistons used to play. Not heliocentric basketball, one guy and you got 4 shooters like this. No, that's not how we play here. So I think he just has a pulse on understanding how to get to where you're going by understanding your past. He seems to understand this is the way we're going to have to play to win. And that's why you got Cade committed to being a two-way player. That's why you got J.I. being committed to being a two-way player. That's why you got Ausar. You got all these guys who have these potential to be two-way guys. Because when you're exerting so much energy defensively, you're not going to be the scorer 30 every night officially.
Right.
And in this team, you're not going to need to because you're spreading it around on both sides of the ball. That's how the Pistons have always won. So it just seems he really understands what he needs to do to get that ship righted back in the right, pushing in the right direction again. So that's why I'm happy with him, man. He seems to really understand what Pistons basketball means, not just a scheme or a system or a style of play. You know what I mean?
It's just crazy that, we haven't even made the halfway point of the season and we already giving the coach the flowers that we're giving him right now. That lets you know where we've come from.
Man,
in these recent years. We've been down in the dungeons when it comes to coaching.
Yep.
And like I said, it's a breath of fresh air to see a coach do what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With our Pistons team, because Pistons fans, yes, we want to get behind this team just like we see Lions fans behind the Lions.
Yep.
We want to do the same. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been so bad around here. It's been tough to do that. It's been tough for all of us to rather, write stories or making music, or we behind the camera making videos.
Yeah.
It's been tough for us. You know what I'm saying? So to just get a little beat of life like this is refreshing, man.
That's all we need, man. Pistons fans don't ask for much, bro. We don't ask for much. We just ask for you to play hard and show you care.
Yeah.
You do that, we will show up in a major way. We set the record for most sold out games at the Palace for years because of that reason. I think it was 2.5 seasons every game was sold out.
Yep.
2.5 straight years. 21,000 packed out plus. So we don't ask for much. That's all we really want. So to your point, King, I think, Bridget, we're heading in the right direction, and it really makes me proud to see that based on where we've been. So not to get too deep on that, because we could go on that all night. At least I could. I want to get to this next point here too, as far as Trajan Langdon's impact in the moves that he made this offseason to bring in some veterans. So the main 3 guys that we brought in is Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley. And I just kind of want to hear from you guys. We can go one by one. How would you grade their play so far through 33 games up to this point, right? Based off what we expected them to be and based off what they are showing to be. Let's start with Tobias Harris. Let's start with King. I'm gonna let you go first, King.
You did that on purpose.
I did. You know me a little too well, and that's why I had to do it. Start with Tobias, based on, because I'm going to answer myself because I have some crow to eat on that as well. But starting with Tobias, what would you grade him so far through 33 games based on what you thought you would see from him?
I would give Tobias a C right now.
Okay.
And that's in the middle. That's obviously because he hasn't been productive for the team like we need him to be. But at the same time, what he brings to the locker room, what he brings to the other players around him, the professionalism, the personality that you add to this team, that has an effect on players. Right. So, waiting for the game to catch up to everything else is the point where we are right now. A lot of big situations where we need him to knock down that 3, he just hasn't been able to do that. And, I started to notice it when he was in Philly, obviously. And it's just carried over. Hopefully, we can see some type of mid-season form start to happen.
Yeah.
Where those things start to take place. Like I say, when you look at the numbers, it's not horrible, but it's not pleasing either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I just want a little bit more out of him offensively. He's been given effort, even a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. The first time around, if any of you guys in the comments been watching me way back then, I used to yell at Tobias Harris every game, like, bro, help side defense, this, that, and the third. He's been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other complaints. It's just the only reason I have to give him a C, B- is simply because of the production offensively.
Gotcha. I'm not mad at that. Eric, what you think, bro?
I'll probably give him the same. I think between C, I don't want to say C-. Some people might think that's crazy. I think what King said is super important. And I think the fact that even when he is struggling, it can hurt sometimes, but it only hurts when it's like if Cade has a big day and nobody else is coming along with him. You don't want Tobias being your 30-point scorer. So even if he's just hitting a couple corner threes, rotating on defense, grabbing rebounds to limit extra possessions for the opponents, that's enough that you need from him. And we're talking about JB Bickerstaff. Something I really like that he does is even when he's struggling, they did this in the Philly game when he first went to Philly. He was really struggling with getting his shot together, but they found him on fast break opportunities to get easy dunks at the rim, to get easy layups, and they post him up a lot as well because he's a big body guy, when they switch and get him on somebody small.
Yes.
So they find ways to keep him involved, And something that I really like too is the players really respect him and care about him a lot. He had a little post-game presser where they call him Uncle T, only being 32, 33 years old. It's funny, but I mean, he's embracing that too. He's embracing his veteran, spot on this team. He's embracing his responsibility. And, when he is effective and when he is scoring, like, when he's knocking down that corner three in another area where he's like posting up and maybe isolating a little bit, he like shooting that like little mid-range floater, like right in front of the rim. He's doing a really good job of knocking that down too. So like he's doing a good job of adapting as a complementary scorer, and it's helping as a benefit to the other guys as well. Again, I don't think anybody had hopes of him being, like you said, the second or third best player on the team. But, when he is being efficient and helpful, I think he's giving, more than enough production that they need. It comes in waves, but when you have the other vets who we're going to talk about, kind of carrying the load when he's not pulling it together, it doesn't hurt as bad. Like when Beasley's been on a heater the way he has been, it doesn't hurt when Tobias is struggling. So, he's definitely going to have to pick it up more, especially now with Ivey's injury. But I would say, I would probably give him around a C of a grade for right now.
I feel like I'm being mean.
You the mean one?
Because
nice one.
I know that's why I feel so awkward, bro. Because I was one of the main guys who was campaigning for him to come here, and to my detriment, I didn't watch enough of him at Philly to understand what we were getting. I was pretty much going off of what I remembered from him when he was here before. And I was expecting that. And when he got here, I was expecting a consistent 17 easy, 17, 18 a game easy in his sleep. That's what I was expecting. And when it didn't happen, the start of the season was interesting because his scoring output wasn't there, but he was getting on the boards. Mm-hmm. It was a few games earlier this season where he led the team, JD, in rebounding. So I was thinking, okay, maybe that's his role now. Maybe he's going to average 14, 15, but going to give us 8, 9 rebounds in the block and then maybe a steal here and there and things like that. But then when it started to get to a point where most recently, there's a West Coast trip, 4-game trip, where he only scored more than 10 points once and had 3 single-digit scoring games, 3 out of those 4 games. Now I'm like, okay, you're not really having an impact on in either end of the floor. You're not really giving us any scoring, and you're not even really helping us on the defensive side of the ball. So I was going to give him a D+ until last night. I don't know what it was about last night, but last night looked like Tobias Harris that at least I was expecting to see on a consistent basis. He just seemed well rested. He just seemed like he was energized. He seemed more spry. I don't know what it was, but he just seemed more into the game. I don't know if that's just an age thing or what, or just coming back home. I don't know what was going on, but I give him a C- because he showed flashes of what he can be. Hopefully, King, to your point, midseason form. Maybe he is just trying to get into midseason form. I hope that's the case. But last night he was getting offensive rebounds. He knocked down, I think, 2 corner threes yesterday. I think that's the most in a season for one game, right? There's been so many times this season when the opposing team should have called timeout, but they didn't because he missed the open 3. So many times him not knocking down shots hurt the momentum of this team when we were about to take over the game. And that was so frustrating for me. But last night he was knocking down those shots. He was grabbing rebounds. He was even getting on a break for alley-oop dunks like you mentioned, Eric. So he just seemed different. If I'm hoping and holding on to that Tobias Harris being consistent for us this season, because if he gives us that, I'm moving up to a B+. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm at. I can't go higher than a C- just because he struggled for so much of the season based on what I thought he would be. But to your point, last game, I don't think we win last game without him. When Jaden goes out and he brings the guys together, almost as if to say, that hurts, but we still got a game to play, fella. We got to get this dub. Let's get this dub for J.I. I don't think we win that game without him. He made some big plays, and he kept these guys' head in the game. So that leadership, along with the scoring output and doing things like that, I think is what's going to help him. So, but yeah, I give him a C-. C-. I can't go any higher than that, though.
Man, you know, I honestly forgot for a second that we have Fontecchio.
Wow. Wow. Should we add him to the great list?
No, it ain't just that. It's just like I'm sitting here thinking about the roster. We were talking about a lot of the players. I'm like, damn, Fontecchio. You know, and that's because he didn't play yesterday, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, Tobias was playing well yesterday, and I think the team in general started to play well because they're starting to hit that gear.
Right.
That's why it's even more devastating for an injury like that to happen right now. Because we're just hitting that gear. We're beating these teams like Eric was mentioning, the Suns, the Lakers, sweeping the Lakers, and you know we doing what we got to do. Beat Orlando. I hate Orlando. I really do. I hate Orlando.
You always hated them.
Like I said, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Tobias is he just has to be productive, decent on the offensive side of the ball. When we need him in the fourth quarter, we need him to show up. We brung you here for a veteran for those purposes. We need you. That's it.
Yeah, agreed. So I think we're all in the same ballpark. So King, you said C, and Eric, you said C, right? Mm-hmm. Both solid C's? Okay. I'm not mad at that. I ain't mad at that. All right, let's get to the next guy. Tim Hardaway Jr. Expectation versus reality and what we've gotten. How would you grade him? I'll start with you this time, Eric, because I know I had King last time. I'll start with you this time.
I would go C minus.
Okay.
But I'll go C. Let me go to solid C, because to me, I think he does a couple things that I like. We spoke a lot to the veteran leadership. He does a great job talking to these guys. He does a really good job of uplifting the teammates. I remember Ivey's game winner against Toronto, and then Jaden's at the podium talking, and then Tim Hardaway comes out and he starts hyping him up and beating on the window. That kind of stuff, it helps the camaraderie of that team, man. And I really like that. Also like how he moves without the ball. He doesn't always make, he's been pretty streaky. I think he's shooting like 35% from three, 41% from the field, averaging, I think, just over 10 points a game. But I really like the way he moves without the ball. He's not a guy, like, he's not one of the veterans or one of these shooters that just comes in and he's just trying to strictly find his shot. Oh, I've been this in the league for a while. I was just on a finals team, even on this young team, with my, my dad in the crowd, and I'm, from Michigan or whatever. He plays the role that's needed for this team. And I think that's super important for all the veterans we're going to talk about. They don't try to do too much. So even when they are struggling, they're not like, it's one thing to struggle, but it's another thing to struggle to the point where you're shooting the team out of the competition. Like a J.R. Smith, who can get as hot as anybody, but he doesn't know how to tone it down and stop. I'm going to keep shooting. I'm going to keep shooting. No, he knows when to make an extra pass, when to kind of dial it back, when to, he does a good job of kind of setting for this mid-range and going for floaters. He also does a good job of drawing contact and getting to the free throw line when they need it as well. So I would give him a C minus, but that may sound harsh, but it's not that bad, honestly, just because of his streakiness. But again, I like the impact that he's made, and I like how it helps the other guys as well, because it's helping Cade become a better passer. It helped Ivey become a better passer when he was on the floor. And again, the way that he's finding shots are in the flow of the offense. There were so many times last season with Bojan or Alec Burks where the shot clock will be winding down 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and they do a step back three just because there was no flow or nobody is moving without the ball. He does a good job of spotting up when Cade is driving to get closer to him or to relocate for an easier shot. And I really appreciate that for his game, because that affects everybody and that elevates everybody's game. So, yeah, he's been pretty streaky, but I would still give him a solid C for right now.
I'm with that. King, shoot it, bro. What you got?
I got a straight B for him. Okay. Obviously, I already knew what type of player he is. I've been following Tim Hardaway since Michigan, obviously. He's always been this player, the same player. he's the player now that he was at Michigan. What is that? He's streaky. He's a streaky shooter. Mm-hmm. But when the competition level rises, he rises. Mm-hmm. He's a Zion and a guy that you bring for that late playoff push and in the playoffs, because he seems to always show up during those times. And not only that, another thing that doesn't get talked about enough for him is look what he's doing defensively.
Yes.
Taking charges, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's always been Tim Hardaway.
That's true.
And like I said, he just all the other little things that Eric mentioned, you know what I'm saying? He does so many things for you. It's hard for you to not just focus on the 3-point shooting and the percentages and the misses and makes, man. But he does so many things. I challenge you Pistons fans next game to just really watch Tim Hardaway. Watch everything that he's doing out there, from the bench to the basketball court. Watch what he's doing out there. I'm telling you, that was a great signing for him to bring him in here. Obviously, Kate wanted him here. Man.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So B, you said B minus? Mm-hmm. And you said C. Oh, yeah. I think I will give him a B minus as well.
Yeah.
I feel like he
right before Christmas.
Is that me? Is that you? I'm hearing the background now. Okay. I think that with Timmy, like you mentioned, King, defensively, he has been a pleasant surprise. He struggled at times because he's 6'4", and playing the 3 at 6'4" is tough. I don't care who you are. It's not going to be easy. It's a mismatch every night. But he brings the effort and the energy, man, and he is willing to give up his body. He is willing to give up his body. We all know what happened to him when he hit that bad head injury. And he pretty much got hit twice in the head on the same play. Missed, I think it was 3 games. He comes right back and gets right back to it, taking charges. He doesn't care. He's fearless. I like that about him. He's a tough player. Somebody mentioned, do you know who his daddy is? Yeah, Tim Hardaway Sr. was a dog. He was a dog. And so Judah has that same mindset. And he actually won one game for us off his 3-point shooting, back-to-back threes. Don't forget about that. But more importantly for me, just the extra swing, right? He's not a selfish player. He's a streaky player, but I don't think he's a selfish player. Just last night, first play of the game, Tobias Harris corner 3, because Tim Hardaway Jr. had an elbow 3, but he swung it. So he's always looking to make the right play. He's always looking to make the right play. I appreciate that about him. And when your vets are willing to give their body up like that, it's contagious. It makes you want to do the same thing when your vets are doing that. Guys have been in the league for a long time. So I would give him a solid B minus, basically, because I didn't expect him defensively to give the effort at this level that he's giving. If he was 6'6", 6'7", I would feel much better about him being a longer term possibly solution at forward for this season. But at 6'4", 6'5", it's just hard for me to get around that. Despite how hard he plays, it's going to be a mismatch every night. And when you're trying to get off to good starts for this type of basketball team, that's not really conducive to that. So I would give him a B minus based off of what I thought we would see and based off what we're getting for sure.
I'm glad you guys brought up, it was King who said it. I'm really glad you brought up about him taking charges and, his defensive, focus. That's something he's been trying to help Jalen Duren with a lot. Like, Duren's been, dealing with foul trouble issues, and even like Jaden Ivey too, younger in their careers, like they had issues with the exact same thing. Ausar, same way. Having somebody like Tim Hardaway Jr., who again is not a lockdown guy, but someone who understands timing. He took a charge that got challenged by the Magic, and it still, didn't get overturned. He understands timing. He understands how to rotate, and he understands like the IQ, what it takes to be a quality defender in the game. And, that can't be undersold with this team, being as young as they are, trying to understand a lot of those intangible things and a lot of things that, like you said, go further than, how many threes is he making or how many points is he scoring. That's a discussion, sure, but there's a lot more that a vet like him can bring to a team like this. So, yeah, his impact is definitely being felt, and I think we're seeing it too. Duren has done a really good job staying out of foul trouble over the past several games. So, I'm loving the impact that he's brought. I might even go higher than a C now. Y'all talk me into it. C+. I'll give him a C.
Okay. There we go. I think I I would rather
No,
have.
he's
He's better than Alec Burks. He's better than Alec Burks.
Yes, he's more valuable.
Two-way ability.
Yeah.
Alec Burks don't play no defense.
Alec Burks can't check a box on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Complete tone.
100%. Alec Burks. I feel like Burks is more of a, to say, but a selfish offensive player. He's just gonna get shots up. He's gonna get shots up for sure. I don't feel that same type of mentality with THJ. Another story. But yeah, so yeah, I think we're in the same boat with that as well. So let's get to the last guy. And I saved him for last on purpose. Malik Beasley. I think this is going to be pretty easy as far as kind of where we have him, as far as what we expected versus what we're getting. But King, I'll let you round it up.
He's a Piston.
Ooh, is that better than A?
He's a Piston. Shout out to the hood over there. He from close to my hood over there. Shout out to his moms and family.
Yeah.
But he has that dog. He has the dog of everybody where I come from. He has that dog in him. It's not just to shoot him, bro.
Right.
He's out there. He's talking to your bench. He's letting them know. He's shimmying in front of you. He's giving you everything, bro. Dog. He's a flat out Piston, man.
Yep.
He's a flat out Piston.
Yeah. I mean, plain and simple. I ain't mad at that, bro. Eric, what you got?
A+. This is one of the best acquisitions in all of offseason through the entire league for the deal that you gave him. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I remember, we all knew he was a veteran and he's played for several teams. I didn't realize he was 28 years old. I thought he was well in his 30s. He's not that old. And I'm tired of having this conversation with some Piston fans. A lot of Piston fans get too greedy with, the value's high, so what can we flip it for? Beasley is a guy you need to keep. Yes. He's not somebody you need to be fishing around for draft picks. He's not somebody you need to be, unless you can somehow find and swap a star in the deal, he is not somebody that you need to get rid of.
Thank you.
Someone that's done wonders for this bench unit. And even with the injuries that they've had, we know when Ivy has to go out, or, when Tim Hardaway had his injury, when he stepped in, he carried the water and did a fantastic job.
Yes.
He's done a good job rotating defensively. We know what he is as a shooter. He's averaging 41% from the field or from three, one of the best shooters in all of basketball right now. Mm-hmm. And he's doing it he's doing it off the dribble and off the catch as well. He's not just a hero ball player where he's carrying on. He's a big reason why Cade is averaging 10 assists right now. He's a huge reason of that.
100%.
And on top of, what he's done, for this roster and with this team, King, you said it just perfect. I even tweeted about this. It says something and it means something to have a player that not only cares about the team, cares about the city, cares about the community, cares about what Detroit truly stands for. He's not here collecting a check to see who he can bounce to for his next opportunity. He truly cares about making the Pistons great, and he has been fantastic. Anything short of an A+ is unacceptable. He has been perfect for this team. Perfect.
Talk your stuff, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
Man.
Yeah, say it with your chest, E. Yeah. Listen, man. Listen, bro. Expectation to reality, S tier. S tier. S tier. Extra credit. Whatever you want to say. He has been a revelation. You mentioned the top free agent signing. 100%. No question about it. To me, he's a guy that just bridges the gap. Because, like you mentioned, he's 28. He's old enough to be the vet, but young enough to still have the ear of these young guys. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned earlier, he plays COD with these guys. You know what I'm saying? He is on social media gassing these guys up all the time. He's waiting for Cade after his post-game interview to run with him into the locker room. He gets it. Yep. He gets it. You know what I'm saying? So we talked about JB Bickerstaff and how the small things make all the difference. Beasley as a player does all those small things that make a difference. And like you mentioned, as far as bringing that toughness and fearlessness to the court, when Anthony Davis, top 10 or 15 player in the league, whatever you want to call it, is after every play, go in there, you got Beasley. Just because you say don't mean it's the foul.
Make it a foul.
Just bringing that, we're not backing down nobody. Just because you a star, okay, you a star, but still you got to strap up just like we do. He does everything, bro. He does that can give your guys confidence to as a rookie. That's going to give you confidence. Okay, I'm gonna talk too. Ron Holland, I'm gonna talk too. Like that kind of stuff is contagious, man. And so I think he just sets that tone and just gives that confidence. And he's not a Corey Joseph, no disrespect, in the sense of where he's a locker room guy, but only a locker room guy. King, your favorite player ever. Since you played him last night, I had to bring him up, right? So he's one of those guys that on the court and off the court is respected. And I don't know why in the hell Milwaukee let him go. You got a guy, and you got Giannis who needs spacers, and you're gonna let one of the best in the game go. I will never understand that, but I ain't mad. Like you said, Eric, I ain't mad.
Milwaukee is a dumpster, obviously. They let the head coach go over there and put them with trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're suffering for all the right reasons. I hope nothing comes of that team. I hope
he hates Giannis. This dude hate Giannis.
Man.
Shout out Doug, by the way. Shout out to Doug. Go ahead.
Y'all just got me even more fired up. You know what I'm saying? Just talking about him, bro. Because if I could have, 5 players with that mentality, you know what I'm saying, that is just like, and it's becoming contagious, obviously, with the rest of the players because it's given that they're exuding confidence, in situations. They're more confident in situations. And every time you get on the court, man, I'm locked in. Every time you get on the court, like, man, he probably about to go off for like 3 or 4 straight. You know what I'm saying? He'll hit you with the floater when he can. Like I said, it's just everything. He's the classic basketball player that us 38-year-old guys.
Right.
Grew up watching, you know what I'm saying? He's that guy. I'm talking to your bitch.
Right.
Y'all over here running y'all mouths. I'm finna show you something. That type of basketball I love and respect. I don't like all this hug everybody and singing songs together basketball league that LeBron turned this league into.
Here we go. Eric, you've been here. He got the LeBron. It's like he has to hit his counter.
Listen,
like
you shot at me with Corey Joseph. I got to shoot.
All right. I'll let you have that one. You're right. Go ahead.
No, but seriously, my bad. I just love everything he brings to this team, man. I hope we are becoming a team that I think we are, and to be good, you know what I'm saying, for some years down the line where we can keep this man here, bro.
Yeah.
Keep him here.
Absolutely. He is much more valuable here, nothing anywhere else in the league. He's not, because he gives us production and he gives us confidence and experience. He's not going to give a contender confidence. They're already confident. You know what I mean? He's not going to do that. He may give him production, but I think with a team like us, he can give us both. He's the best of both worlds. And I think regardless of what you may get in return, is it going to be worth what you're giving up? And I wanted to, not to move off of him, but I wanted to make sure I didn't forget the other free agent signing or the other acquisition that we got this offseason, which was B-Ball Paul. So I want to, once again, I didn't know much about B-Ball Paul Reed before he got here. I did watch some film, things like that. But I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw from him when he got consistent time. Right? He showed us what he could do, giving guys like Jokic some trouble here and there at times defensively. So I want to ask you, what was your, it's based on your expectation versus reality, how would you grade B-Ball Paul Reed?
I gotta give B-Ball Paul an A. Here's the reason why. He hasn't had the opportunity like I wanted him to have when he got here. That fan base was pissed for a reason when he was let go from Philly.
Good point.
And when he played his longest stint of minutes, we seen what he really is. You know what I'm saying? He's also a Piston style player. That's just what he is. And, to leave and then come back and take a pay cut and then have your most productive game. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, give this man an opportunity out there. And that's why I said it's still interesting for me when it comes to the trade deadline, because it's a lot of guys in certain spots. We got to find some type of relief. You know what I'm saying? But Paul Reed is a flat out professional. He's a guy that you need on your roster.
Yeah.
I mean, man, you keep him there. You keep that one bullet in the chamber. You know,
right?
So keep him there. And if something was to happen, obviously when Stu went down, there you go. You got that guy that can fill in for you.
Right. 100%. Eric, thoughts on B-ball Paul Reed?
Yeah, I
didn't want to leave him out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, he definitely needs to be mentioned in this discussion. Sorry, I'm having some microphone
issues. You're good. You're good, bro.
Yeah, no, I love the addition of Paul, and I honestly think they need to find a way to get him some more minutes. Yeah. He has been very, very helpful on both sides of the basketball. Like he's, well noted for, his ability to score on all three levels. He's a good 3-point shooter, really good mid-range shot. And he's found a way to, finish pretty efficiently at the rim as well. And he's giving you a lot of hustle plays too defensively. And like you said, going back to that Utah game where, they got dusted, but, when he was able to, put some shots together and he was hyping the crowd up and running into Jordan Clarkson, he, sparked something within the team. You saw Ron Holland want to go fight for him. You just see a different kind of unity with players like him. Something that he also does well too, that he's done in a few different games, and I think Beasley has done this as well.
Sorry, Eric. I'm sorry.
No, I see it. No, you good. Something that Beasley has done a lot too, as well as Paul. When the opponents kind of start going on runs and they start putting some pressure on the young players and they start, going on streaks, those veterans have come up and they started scoring to kind of cool that off a little bit. That has been huge for them, especially when you're a young team and you kind of, okay, well, I don't, they're like questioning a shot or, I want to force something. You can go to a vet and get you a quality shot and knock it down and then quiet that, your opponents on the road. That is huge to have on this roster. And I think they have that with Beasley. They have that in Tim Hardaway Jr. You have that with B-Ball Paul. It's not very often with Tobias, just no disrespect. But for those guys specifically, they have done a really good job of weathering those storms when things get a little bit tight for the young guys.
That's a good point. Somebody just said, MB Well, shout out to MB Well. He said, at least Reed is better than or Bagley and Wiseman. I would have to agree with that. I think he's better than both of those guys, to be honest, on both ends of the court.
He wears the worker's hat. Those guys are, too busy trying to prove a point still. He wears a worker's hat. He comes to play.
Yeah.
He's established in certain areas. Bagley, we still don't know what he is. Wiseman, we don't know if he's ever going to play in the league again at this point. Like, B-Ball Paul is solidified for what you need, and you have versatility amongst your bigs now. Duran being a lob threat, Stu being enforcer and defender, and you have a versatile scorer in B-Ball Paul who also gives you energy on defense as well. Having that versatility is huge for this front court.
So grades for B-Ball Paul for you guys? B plus Paul. I'm calling him B plus Paul. I'm giving a B plus.
B plus. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say A minus. A minus B plus range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We all the same.
Yeah. Last thing I want to hit on, guys, because we're getting a lot of comments. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all really are lighting this thing up tonight. I keep seeing a lot of Duran talk. JD. And we all know he's been very polarizing this season. A lot of people want to move off of him. I'm not one of those people. I've never been one of those people, at least not yet. But Eric, let's start with you. I want to get your thoughts on JD. Do you think there is a path for him to still have success here in Detroit? I know it may sound like a silly question. To me, it's a silly question, but I just kind of want to get your take. You've been in the locker room. You've talked to some of these guys. What are your thoughts on JD, just what you've seen so far?
It's too soon to give up on him. He's definitely struggling in some areas, but it's way too soon to give up on him. He has a wavelength with Cade Cunningham that you don't see between guards and bigs that often, especially in today's game. Offensively, you don't need him to do a whole lot. Be a lob threat. Like, to me, there's some times where he gets the ball low and like he'll dribble and he'll like fake and look around. Bro, he'll be trying to pass. Bro, go be Shaq.
Yes.
Dunk on people's heads. And even if you don't, get a foul, go to the free throw line, and put some pressure on them that way. You don't need to be looking around at nothing. Like, I want the coaching staff to tell him that. Don't look at nothing except the rim. Go break somebody's wrist. Do whatever you need to do. Like, I would not give up on him at this point. I really like what he brings on both sides of the ball when his game is clicking. I think he still does have that defensive upside. He's very athletic. He's getting a little bit better with rotating and, slowing down guards and wings that try to, penetrate, at the rim. He's done a lot better with that. And he does a really good job at creating extra possessions too with tap backs, offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds too. I still think he's one of the best rebounders in all of basketball.
Yep.
He's going to have to definitely work on, defending stretch bigs. That's probably always going to be a problem for him. And that's understandable. It's going to take some time for him. He's still 21 years old, but considering his upside, considering, the presence that he brings down low and as a lob threat for not even just Cade. Like, I think Ivy is a good passer too. Ausar finds him when he can. No, I don't think you let him go at this point. Let him keep learning the game. Again, the Pistons are not in a place where they need to rush and decide, should we get rid of this guy? No. Let them play out. Let them finish out this season. Let them keep growing. And I think you're going to see some good things keep developing out of JD.
King, I'm going to put this comment up here and then let you go.
I already seen the dumbass comment. Listen, I'm not going there today. I don't have the energy. Listen, man, I love Durant. It's part Duran's, part the coaching staff. Duran's mentality every night has to be consistent. It has to be the same. Thank you, Team Spark. It has to be consistent. The coaching staff has to stop him from doing certain stuff. Why the hell is Durant pushing the ball up the court?
I don't want to see that anymore.
Is Isaiah doing that? Is Paul Reed doing that? Why I
don't want any of the bigs doing that. Even Fontechi, who I always talk to you about. I don't want any of those guys doing that. Go ahead.
They have to put their foot down and say, man, get a damn ball to a guard. Get down there in the paint and get yourself set so we can get you the basketball. Come and set a solid screen. Stay there and guard. Make sure he's set, but stay there and go roll to the basket and make something happen, bro. It should be simple basketball. Get the simple basketball things down first, consistently, before we start to venture out and doing things.
Right.
For me, for a big guy to push the ball up the court, you have to earn it first.
Absolutely.
You have to be sound at everything else, and then we can say, okay, I'll let you get a little bit of, you can push the ball up the court. Maybe. It's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? Duran's been playing a lot better lately. Obviously, he's entirely too young to even be talking about moving on from him. Like, are we serious? You know what I'm saying? We sit here and talk about the players and all of this stuff like that, and we talk about moving on from him. Like, come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's out of the question for me right now. It's the coaching has to be a little bit different with Duran. I just want to see more fundamental things with Duran. Give him the fundamentals as a big right now. Whoever's working with him on that coaching staff as far as assistants, they need to implement that a little bit more into his game and have him focus on those things first before we start trying to be an all-star center and dribble down a basketball court.
Yeah, I 100%. Go ahead. You want to get back in there, bro? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think Monty gassed him up last season. When he said that, he said JD could be a top 10 player in the league. I remember JD posted that on his IG, and we saw him in Summer League bringing the ball up, trying to do these between the legs passes, running fast breaks. Like, bro, can you stop? We only need you to do a couple things. Granted, I'm fine with you. Like he said, if you want to gradually get there, cool. But your third coach in 3 years, you're still young. You're still learning the basic fundamentals of being a professional NBA basketball player.
Right.
Perfect that, and then we'll find everything else. Monty gassed him up a little bit, and I think we saw a lot of that last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me, it's obviously something that's a pipe dream that's never gonna happen, but this is a time where I wish I had Rasheed Wallace on this coaching staff roster. His simple slogan to Drummond at that point in his career was dunk everything.
Yes. Dunk
the damn ball, bro.
100%.
That's where during you're big, you're strong. People are afraid of you. Dunk the ball. The only one that's stopping you is you. Either they're gonna foul you or you're gonna break some hands. Simple and plain.
Right.
Dunk the ball, bro.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And she was actually one of his coaches at Memphis. So he's familiar with Rasheed. So I don't know what happened between that time, but I need Sheed to come back the same way I needed Sheed to come back when Stan Van Gundy let him go for Andre Drummond. Yep. He needs to be here. I think both of the Wallaces need to be here, honestly. But yeah, that's a very profound point that you made, Eric. I think that now that we're starting to win games, he's starting to see that maybe I do got to sacrifice some offense. We're winning. Because it's clear he wants to have fun on offense. You see how he sprints down the court looking for the lob.
Yep.
After he finishes an offensive possession by grabbing the rebound. And then Cade's rewarding him. They're finding him when he's doing that.
Yep.
The guards are looking for him when he's doing that. So it's almost as if he's being incentivized. You know, hey, bro, like this down over here, and you're going to eat down here. That needs to be the mentality. I think he thinks that, I could be wrong, but he is a very gifted basketball player. And I think he wants to maximize all that offensive skill. He's like, I can do this, this, and this too. That's fine, but we don't need that from you right now. So it's like it seems like he's buying in to not dumbing down, but just focusing more so on the defensive side of the ball. And when you see that we're winning because of it, you can't really argue with it. So I think that's why he's kind of committed more so to it, because you're seeing in more stretches now, not consistently yet, but more stretches, he's committed to having a certain type of mindset when he's playing. And that, to me, like I said, third coach in 3 years. Sure, there's been other players who've had three coaches in 3 years, but everybody doesn't develop the same way at the same speed, mentally or physically. It takes guys longer sometimes for them to hit that stride. So there's no way you trade a guy like this who has all the potential. There's just what are you going to get in return that's of potential value of that magnitude, potentially?
Listen, I'm going to say this, man. And if for some reason you're watching JD, listen. I tell my young guys this that I coach. It's not about what you can do. It's about what you need to do. Right out there. At this stage of your career, it's about what you need to do. You're still trying to learn things in this league. So what you need to do is the most important. We'll talk about what you can do a little bit later. Right now, we need you to be solid in that paint. We need you to set solid screens. We need you to be a force on defense. That's what we need out of you. And once that becomes muscle memory, then we can venture out into the play.
Nice. I like that. That's a great point. Build out is what you're saying, basically. Yeah, 100%. Go ahead, Eric.
A lot of people keep talking about consistency in the comments, and they just haven't had a lot of that, unfortunately. And I hate to have to keep, harping back to this point, but I mean, Duran didn't even get to play with Cade his first year.
Right.
He didn't get to, spend a whole lot of time learning and playing with him. And, again, going on your third coach at this point, seeing so much roster turnover, it just hasn't really been a lot of opportunity for him to build on the things that, like King said, the things that you need to be doing for this team. And again, unfortunately, losing Ivy is going to hurt or change a little bit, but I still think he can focus in on whatever those needs are, with creating extra possessions, dominating in the paint in all aspects possible. Like you said, just focusing. That point is so fun. Being focused on the needs more than what you want to do or what you should be able to do. Like, we haven't seen him take a whole lot of those step back jumpers he tried doing last season. We haven't seen him, bring up the ball a lot, at least this season. He's done it a couple times, but it's definitely been minimized a little bit this year. So, focus on those needs, and it's already playing the benefits to it for this team. So, as long as he's there, we'll be all right.
And if we keep winning games, I think it's going to be easy for him to develop that consistency with it, because that's why they're here. That's why we're all here. It's to win. So, 100%, bro. Good points from both of y'all on that one. I'm going to end it with this, and we're going to call it a night. We can't have a pod and not talk about Cade, right? We got to talk about our dog.
Right.
Last night, y'all saw it. Y'all saw that play.
Yeah.
When there was a defensive pick and roll, I think it was Ausar and Stu. And Stu got switched on to Jalen Suggs. And Ausar did a great job switching, got his hands out for ball down on the roll. And Cade at the top of the roll. He was at the free throw line. And he looks around and he sees everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be. And he starts doing this. And that's when you see Stu. It's funny because the play wasn't even nearly over yet. But it was just, it felt like Cade understood that his guys are starting to get it and that they're all starting to get it collectively. Because as Stu was just guarding him, as Suggs gets into his move, Cade's already clapping. Before the shot even goes up, Cade's still clapping. Shot misses, Cade's still clapping. Like, it's the way he instills confidence in these guys as a leader, and now is outwardly showing that dog is probably the most exciting thing for me that I've seen from him this year. Aside from the basketball part, because we know what he is. But he's understanding that he's got to be a certain way to be respected a certain way. You know, when he's trash talking LeBron, you know, when Brian's trying to tell the ref that he's pushing off, there you go again. And K's like, there you go again, right? Like, he's just understanding he has to be a certain way. He can't be Mr. Nice Guy. He has to bring that toughness and that mentality of I'm better than you, and I'm about to show you. And he's doing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that's been the most exciting thing for me watching him is just his mentality switch and his understanding that he has to do things a little bit differently, and his approach has to be a little bit different if the Pistons are going to be a certain type of team that they want to be. So what are you guys' thoughts on K so far, what you've seen?
I'll let you go first, Eric.
I think Cade's having a breakout season. We all know it for sure. But what you're speaking to, I think, is the most important part. I think we're seeing the growth in his maturation as a leader.
Yep.
I think you'll probably understand this very well. Remember the first season where Matt Stafford didn't have Calvin Johnson anymore. In the first game he played, I think it was against the Colts. And it was the fourth quarter drive, and he was throwing past the Ebron, and he is more demonstrative than we had seen him through his entire career. Hey, look at me. Look at me. And then I think Marvin Jones caught up at cut outside. We were seeing a different form of his leadership as the quarterback and the leader of this team, which people had questioned what he could be without Calvin Johnson. We're seeing that right now with Cade Cunningham.
Okay.
Even early in the season where I forgot who they were playing, but Stu got a technical foul or he got a foul or some stupid play. Cade comes up to him and checks him. Why would you do that right now?
Yeah.
Why? We're about to win this game. Why would you put yourself in that position?
Yep.
He's understanding how to, like, I asked him this during media day. Like, what is it like? You're obviously the franchise player, but you bring in vets. There's a new coach, a new front office leader. What's it like kind of being in that middle ground where you are learning, but you also are viewed as the guy?
Right.
He said it's definitely a tough responsibility, but I'm not afraid of learning. I'm not afraid of being taught. I'm not afraid of being coached, and I want that to be reflected throughout the team. I want my guys to listen to me, and I'm gonna listen to them too.
Mm-hmm.
It's all showing in his leadership and his maturation. I love the way he connects with everybody, the way he hypes up Jaden Ivey after his game winner against Sacramento.
Yeah.
Like you said, the leadership and the connection between him and Beasley. There was another moment where he had to check Tim Hardaway Jr. after a bad shot that he took earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just seeing his acceptance of the responsibility of being a leader for this team, and I think it's working up in tremendous fashion right now on the way to the wins that they're bringing for the franchise.
Really quick, King, I'm gonna let you go, but I think this all goes into why he went number one. Is he has a certain
100%.
type of personality that allows him to still be humble, but still demand the respect of his team. How many guys do you see still listen to when they barking at him? Still don't take that from nobody.
Right.
But with Cade, it's different. The respect is there. He has just a way about him that I think everybody, you really can't teach it. And I think just the way he carries himself and the way he holds himself accountable, they're not going to listen to him if they're not doing it, if he's not doing it. So I think that's a big part of why he went number one is just his leadership. We all say all the time, but seeing, like you mentioned, Eric, just seeing the different ways that he leads and seeing how he goes about doing so in a way that's still showing respect to his teammates, but saying, look, I'm demanding this of you and you demand it of me too. So that's a great thing that you pointed out. Ken, get in there, bro. What you got?
You know, one day we just gonna come out here and we gonna clip out some things from previous podcasts because we've been singing that since the beginning.
We have.
And I've constantly said, we don't need to have the Mr. Nice Guy Cade. We need Cade that's going to put his foot down.
Facts.
We need Cade that's going to take control. My expectation of Cade Cunningham is so high. This man is up on my wall with all champion Pistons, bro. All champion, bro. All of those bobbleheads are champion Pistons. Cade is the only one up there.
He's a winner.
That is my expectation for Cade, bro. Mm-hmm. I know how great he can be.
Yep.
The crazy part is that we're just not watching it start to unfold. You know what I'm saying? It's just not starting. And it's just not starting is all-star level. You know what I'm saying? And I've been just being patient and pondering. I want to make this all-star video for everybody, man, because if he gets snubbed this year, I'm going to lose my absolute damn mind. Now, listen. Go ahead. Here's why I say that.
Okay.
Look at numbers. They don't matter. When it comes to all-star, it's voting.
Yep.
It's all voting. The coach is going to give him that respect. I know they will. The fan voting. We're here in Detroit. I've seen this scenario before. Hell, we sitting here right now arguing about Kirby Joseph not being in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's facts.
So right now he's playing to a level where I hope it's so overwhelmingly good that they just have to give him that nod, bro, because you look in this Eastern Conference, there's not a lot of people I'm putting in front of Cade.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's man, my expectations are so high for Cade, man. It's the reason why I was in that arena screaming like I was when we drafted him. It's a reason why.
Yep.
I can't wait until I see him get his just due and get those nominations and get the respect. He's finally starting to get some foul calls here and there. But once he starts to really get into that mode, man, we're gonna be a very, very lucky fan base to have him.
So the first what was it, All-Star ballot results came out today. The first set of ballots came in, and he's currently 6th amongst guards in the East, which is freaking egregious to me.
This is what
it just shows what fans are looking for and watching. Guess who was first? LaMelo Ball. And that's no shade to LaMelo. Is a very, very talented, flashy player, but that's why he gets go ahead, Aaron. That's why he gets the fan vote. Go ahead.
It just goes against all the BS that people talked about Cade's rookie year. Cade puts up these hollow numbers on a team that's not winning. What is LaMelo doing literally right now?
Great point.
Exact thing.
The exact
same thing, bro.
You know who I hold accountable? This is the reason why I say this, right? This whole thing about the All-Star video that I'm working on. I hold our fan base accountable because when we're not winning championships, the fan bases we're not engaged like we should be.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? And that goes into voting as well. The fan base on social media is not the way it should be. It's overwhelmingly different going up and down my timeline with Lions talk and Pistons talk. And I have two mixed bags and almost split down the middle of a following on social media and on YouTube. It's night and day. It is night and day.
Yeah.
Our fans are so fair weather that I feel like it hurts our athletes here.
I agree with that.
Because fan voting is the hugest part of that All-Star thing. And like I said, he could be scoring 50 points a game. If our fans don't get behind him and vote like the hell we supposed to, he's going to get snubbed.
They too busy chanting Jared Goff for some reason.
At LCA games when THJ is down with a head injury.
Bruh.
I still ain't over that yet. You must be illiterate to not be able to read the room, bro. That's terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. And you got Tobias Harris looking around like, what's going on? What's going on here? It's just very, very awkward moment. Go ahead.
I remember when they had the jersey reveal, when they revealed that StockX was going to be the partner for the Pistons on their jerseys. Cade was there, and Jalen Rose was the host of it. He had to kind of coach and tell the crowd, hey, yo, it's Cade's birthday. He's the #1 pick. We got a superstar here. Give him some love. No, give him some love. People don't realize how good this guy is.
They don't.
Great. I understand how upset people have been about the last few drafts of getting the #5 pick and whatnot. Cade is as polished as a player that you could ask for a team like this. And yet fans still don't really realize how good he is. Cade gets the respect amongst coaches, players in the NBA. Fans don't get it yet. The media doesn't get it yet.
Right.
But those who actually know ball understand how special and dynamic this dude is. And I think it's coming out right now. Again, I still do think he's going to make that all-star team. I don't think he'll get it from the fan vote. but he's going to get that respect. He's commanding it right now. I made the case he's been the third best point guard in the NBA this season. I really believe so.
So, yeah, who do you have him behind? Out of curiosity. Do you remember who?
SGA and Luka. And I mean, Luka's hurt at this point. And granted, when people make these discussions, it's, well, his true shooting is here. His efficiency is here. What other guard is playing as good defense as Cade Cunningham?
That's
what
a great
other guard
point.
has a game-winning block? Who else do you know has had the ability to guard LeBron, match up against KD, talk trash to them back and forth, and still not even just be just a scorer and a defender, but a playmaker as well? Mm-hmm. I've said it that he has LeBron-like responsibility to this team and franchise. Okay, we need a little bit of help here.
100%.
We also need you to rebound. We also need you to do this. We also need you to be a leader. And he's taking the challenge. JB's talked about it. He's doing everything that he's been asking for him to do. And fans, y'all got to start understanding. Maybe not in the comments. I'm sure some of y'all get it. But a lot of y'all on the timeline who started saying, Cade's not a point guard, or, we got to take him off ball. Like, stop it. You have a superstar in the making. Just watch and see.
Yep. And you made a great point, too, about JB and the mentality piece. Because we talked about how polished and how smart he is as a basketball player. But you probably asked this question when JB gave the answer. He said Cade likes having his buttons pushed.
Yes.
Yep. He likes being given a challenge and then saying, okay, you only had 2 rebounds first half. Yep. And by the end of the game, he's got 12. Like, he just is that kind of guy. He's going to do whatever is needed for his basketball team to win. And the defensive piece, bro, you mentioned, it's not a lot of two-way superstars in the NBA.
No.
A lot of those, you mentioned Luka and you mentioned Shea. Shea is a good defender, right? But he's not a two-way player, at least not yet.
No.
And we know what Luka is not. So,
and those are Western Conference guys. Nobody in the East is close.
You're right. You're 100% right. Nobody East is close. So, just that two-way ability he's going to have, bro, as he keeps developing it and how he wants to be that. Y'all see. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all see.
You seen the growth right before your eyes, man. Mm-hmm. He's starting to close out games. Everything that we said.
Yes.
Turnovers are dropping. Mm-hmm.
For the first 3 quarters, you can be Sonic. For the last quarter, I need you to be Shadow.
Right.
That's the way it need to be.
Right. 100%. 100%. So, yeah. And I think everybody here in the like pretty much everybody here in the chat understands it. But a lot of casual fans don't yet, and they will. It's okay if they don't now. Just give it a little time. It'll click.
Go vote for him. Go vote for him, y'all. Show him that love. He deserves it. He wants to be here. He wants to revive this franchise. Go support this man, please.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm going to start making campaign videos on social media. I'm going to get on your damn nerves. So go vote.
Hey, I want to see that.
I repost him. I quote him. I'm with you. Let's do it. So, yeah, we going to end it there. This has been a great show, per usual. Eric, always great to have you on with us, man. King, you annoying. And yeah, but I just want to say this too. Make sure you let everybody know where we can find you. I make sure I have all your links in the comment section of this video. So everybody, if you guys who's not tech savvy, just click at the bottom of this video and you'll be to go to any of his platforms, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or whatever they call it, Twitter, X, whatever. Go follow this man. He has amazing articles. I read all his articles. All of them are amazing. They're always spot on. Everything that he's saying here are the same things that he's writing. So if you're interested in anything he has to say here tonight, you want to go follow him. Check him out. So just want to put that out there for you, E. Amazing work you're doing, bro. And you just get started, man. You are killing this game right now.
Appreciate it a lot, man. This is such a good time. I love being over here with y'all on this platform. The Detroit sports community, man. I love y'all. Y'all see the backdrop here. We deserve better here. I'm trying to do my best to give Detroit sports the proper respect that it needs. And that's really what I care about most, man. So if y'all can tap in with me, follow me at I am Eric Vincent. That's all my socials. Make sure you tap in with me. I'll talk to you there. Again, check out my work too. I'm over at clutchpoints.com as the Pistons beat reporter. Again, like Caleb, you talked about it. I'm not above being, coached or corrected. If anything I need to be taught about, make sure y'all let me know. Tap in with my YouTube channel too, Top Title Entertainment. Plenty of Detroit sports content on there, music talk, wrestling, all of the above, man. Tap in with me. I love to be able to connect with y'all. It would mean a lot.
And a lot of the content that you guys see me posting from those rooms comes from this man.
I appreciate that a lot.
I want to shout that out there too, because a lot of the stuff that I'm able to kind of get the jump on is because of you. So shout out to you for giving us that information, giving us the exclusive.
I got you.
access to that, that's really helpful for us as far as getting this out to everybody else. Everybody in the chat is rocking with you too. Anybody who doesn't know, this dude is a Kendrick connoisseur. Any question, Kendrick, he will answer it. And any question about Drake, he probably can answer that too.
Yeah, so, I'm all about greatness, man. You know, I respect the greats like Kendrick and any, frauds like Drake. That's
I was waiting on that.
Ready to dunk on him whenever I can.
Quick question before we go out. Top 5 dead or alive?
Ooh.
Dead or alive? Ooh. All right.
That's a great question.
I'm gonna go J number 1. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna go. I don't care. I'm gonna go Kendrick number 2. I don't care.
Woo!
I think he's earned it.
I thought that Kendrick's was wrong for you, but go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna go Kendrick 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Eminem 3. You know, I got
Thank
respect for his resume. I'll go M3.
He don't like that.
I will go. Yeah, I know. I can tell by his face.
What?
So you don't like that?
I mean, that's his list.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Wayne 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go. I'm gonna go Snoop 5. I'm gonna go Snoop at 5.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Is that okay? Is that?
No,
it's your list.
No.
I say, man, I'm the type of person I never argue with nobody with their list because certain artists have a different effect on certain people,
of course,
based off of how their lifestyle, how they grew up, how their music touched them.
Man, that's bull. That's cap. That's cap. So look, how come you can feel that way about top rappers but not top players, King?
Here you go.
Deuce. It's just not gonna happen, man. Just stop. Good Lord.
I knew it was coming.
You saw I got the debate switch right there?
Exactly where you were going.
I'm just messing around. But no, that's a good list, bro. That's a good list. I mess with that. So yeah, anyway, y'all go follow this man. He's very, very eclectic in his ability, man. He does a lot of different things, very versatile, very entertaining too. So yeah. And he can hoop. So check him out. Get him on that basketball court a little bit, see what he can do.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Anything else you want to hit on, King, before you get out of here, bro?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, listen, this has been a great show. Appreciate everybody in the comments, man, showing up and showing out. This has been a wonderful show. Glad to have y'all here, man. This is always great to have y'all part of the conversation. So yeah, we will end it there and we will catch y'all on the next stream. And as always, Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
Go vote.
Go vote. Cade, do it.